Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment question comes from Wilson Luciano. And this was in response to how to reload the factory presets on your Roland D-70, a video I did in, good God, January 2017. And Wilson writes, "Good morning, my friend. Could you please help me? I've bought a package of SYEX files for the Roland D-70 but can't load them onto it. I've tried everything and it won't work. For other keyboards I can send the SYEX files for the SY77, M1, etc. but it won't work for the D-70 at all. Please give me a tip. I've already tried with MIDI OX, BOEM, and it won't work. Thanks." Now that one's an interesting one. So anyway, what I said is, I did a further series of videos on loading, backing up and loading files using SYEX from the Roland D-70. And those videos are available on YouTube. If you go and search Roland D-70 on my channel, you should pick them up. There's a series of 3 videos in that particular segment of the channel. There's also a whole load of videos that will probably come up as pending, which all relate to the work that's been going on the Roland D-70 recently to repair it and bring it back to full. I've got the burps, I've got the hiccups. I do apologise. But those videos should help you with the SYEX setup, because as everybody knows, these synths are quite old. They don't receive data at the same rate the computer can throw it down the wire, and therefore you kind of have to throttle the computer, which is what the baud rate is all about. Baud rate is all about the number of bits received per second. Don't ask me what baud actually stands for because I can't remember. Anyway, if you've basically followed the instructions in those videos and it's still, those SYEX files still won't load, then I would say that the issue is potentially somewhere else. Number one, and this sounds the daftest thing ever, and I say it, but it actually is true in a lot of instances, you could have a problem with your cables in your interface. You say you can send and receive SYEX with other keyboards, so I'm hoping that actually isn't the case, but it could be the case that you've got a cable issue or an interface issue. And one of the things I do is, and it's actually on the floor here because I've been using it, but I use one of these. And this is just a very, very simple MIDI man interface, 2 in, 2 out. And I don't use my big interface, which is in the rack here, which is the iConnectivity interface. I could use it, but I just find for doing things like SYEX restores, the MIDI man 2 in, 2 out is actually a far simpler environment to work in, and it reduces the amount of potential variables in why it doesn't work quite considerably when I'm trying to debug one of these legacy synths. It also doesn't help that some of these legacy synths, like the D-70, it's not obvious how you set it up. So when you're trying to debug it, the more variables you can remove from the process, the easier it is to try and actually eliminate, to get to the point where you can eliminate things and actually work out what is actually causing the issue. The second thing, and I think this is probably more of what's going on here, is your SYEX files are corrupt. They've been cut, and if they haven't been cut correctly, they've been, when you've been recording the SYEX, they've kind of been chopped too soon. You're recording things into the SYEX file that doesn't necessarily need to be there. So you've got all kind of those issues going on. And that could actually be what's causing your problem here, is that the fact that you've got a corrupt SYEX file. So somebody whoever sent them to you hasn't done the recording job particularly well. Now, obviously, I haven't seen the SYEX files, so I'm just commenting completely blind. But you know, if you've used something like MIDI-OX is quite good when you record a file to tell you when the file has stopped transmitting. But if you've used the incumbent Mac program to record files, then you know the basic MIDI SYSEX implementation on the Mac is poor, seriously poor, and you need a third-party program really on the Mac to be able to work with MIDI. Now, a load of people will shout at me and say, I don't know what I'm talking about, but honestly, the programs that are available free for the Windows platform knock the default implementation on the Mac for SYEX. Next question comes from Agios Adelphos. I'm hoping I've pronounced that right, and I apologise if I haven't, because you all know I can't pronounce people's names. I am the world's worst at doing it. And this was in response to a Korg OASYS loading the EXS3 engine, a video I did in June 2018. And Agios writes, anyone managed to connect either a mouse or a modem, or a modern touchscreen on the Korg OASYS? Now, I am sure that some enterprising soul has managed to achieve the touchscreen element of this. But personally, I have had an external monitor plugged into it, and basically just to see if it was outputting a pure VGA signal, and I can confirm it does output a VGA signal, which is obviously what is used on the display, on the flip-up display on the Korg OASYS. I tried plugging a USB mouse into the USB socket, and it wouldn't recognise it. And to be honest, at the time I kind of didn't pursue it any further. So I've no idea whether it was just needed a tweak in the settings or the BIOS, or whether it was something else. So to be honest, this one is a community open up. So anyone in the community who has managed to attach a touchscreen or a USB mouse to the Korg Kronos, please shout, or should I say squeak, or forever hold your peace.